Good morning for Monday, May the 20th. It's a fine good morning to you from me, Chris Morales. This is Overheard Overnight. And this Monday morning, I'm talking about success, actually being hung up on success. And that's something that I've struggled with my entire life, this whole concept of success. Wealth, money, external, internal, that entire debate has gone on my entire life in terms of trying to figure out how to cope with that, how to deal with that. And very smart person I know told me that the very first thing you have to do is define your terms. So, Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines success as the attainment of a favorable outcome and or attainment of wealth, fame, and anything associated with that. So you have those two things kind of going along, with each other. The first one may be a bit more internal. The second, definitely a bit more external. I get to why and where and why my struggle has caused me some angst. This particular, though, issue of dealing with success, talking about success, thinking about what success means for me, began about 3 months ago when I decided to. Really, I decided I don't want to work again in a job. And out of that came this push once again to try something for myself, to set up a business. Anxiety comes with that. Are you going to be successful? How are you going to measure success in that business? Are you going to just worry about the things that you do, concerned about that? But if people don't buy it, then is it really a success? So that starts about 3 months ago, accelerates, gains some energy about 3 weeks ago when we had dinner. I have some friends came over, had dinner. Some guys I've known for many years, worked together with in advertising, and all of us have had very, very successful careers in advertising, different degrees, of course, but very successful careers in advertising. But the discussion circled around at this stage of life, not feeling particularly successful, not in the business anymore, in the advertising agency business. And in fact, don't have any opportunity of getting back into it because, the world that we lived in a number of years ago, that's changed. And the business has certainly gravitated to a new structure, new style, new energy, younger for sure. So the gray hairs may play against that. One of us in particular felt particularly unsuccessful, and that's where the discussion kind of ended that evening. Ended for us as a group, not for me. I kept kind of going over it. Had a conversation a few weeks after that with a friend and talked about the failure, but failure from the perspective of the fear of success, which is an odd concept. It does exist, apparently. I'm not sure I believe in it, but we kind of circled that one for about an hour, and I realized, no, that's a rabbit hole. Not going to go down that one. Really came to a head on the weekend, this past weekend. Over the weekend, I had a conversation on Saturday morning at my grandson's lacrosse practice, of all places. These things come up in the craziest places, right? Had a conversation about success with a gentleman who, from all appearances, is fantastically successful. Successful in the career that he's in, father, husband, community member. And I said to him, how do you define the success for yourself? And he said, well, I don't think of myself as particularly successful. And here's why. And so he shared that with me. He said, I am risk averse. I don't like being out there and taking chances, taking risks. What that does is it holds me back. And then in anything that I do, I underperform and then I feel bad. He says, eventually I work my way out of that. But my first reaction is risk aversion. I don't want to go into this situation. So, in other words, in his mind, despite what might look like on the exterior, he's not feeling successful. And really, that's at the heart of what my struggle has been along the way. It's that external image that is portrayed of success. You live in the nice neighborhood, your kids go to the right schools, you dress properly, you drive the nice cars, you take the fancy vacations. That's success, right? I aspired to that my entire life. I lived in the world of trying to create those images for people. in advertising and marketing. So I'm certainly very familiar with the techniques that one would use and the little things you tug at, the emotional things you tug at to get people to emote a certain way. Now, having said that, that led me into a very bad place because I've spent more energy trying to portray that exterior image. And that's where that whole concept of con man comes in, and fake, not real, because you put this image out there that you're trying to support, and the energy required to maintain that level of success. Oh, exhausting. Then I flip it around and think on the other side of it, well, the successes I've had, man, wow. I'm still standing after, being hit and re-hit on a number of issues, as I've talked about before. Still here, still smiling, still prepared to try something again, even though to this point, there's no evidence to suggest that it's going to be successful, that being the new business that I'm launching in a couple of weeks, which is scary in itself. What I think I've come to terms with is the simple concept that it's not either. And I wish I had a pithy way of summing this all up this morning. There is a need to achieve personal, internal, selfish, if you want to put it that way, goals. That is successful to you. But it's also combined with the need to get out there, to work, to produce, to perform, to help society, to help culture, to help us as a species, if you want to get that big about it, do something more. And that's the external. I think you got to have both. So until the next time, just remember to be good.